am in the middle of doing my makeup, but I feel this energy like coming through my heart space. Like God wants me to speak about this. I cannot stop this channel, even if I wanted to. I am tapping so deeply into the energy of abundance, like specifically financially, but also health-wise and like mentally. It feels like you are either crossing the threshold into the most abundant and powerful timeline of your life. And by that, I mean, you have never experienced the amount of wealth that you are about to experience. You have never experienced the amount of freedom that you are about to experience. It feels like there's a huge weight being lifted off of your heart space. Like your heart is cracking wide open. I feel like love is about to walk through your front door. I don't know why that is coming through so clearly and strongly. Some of you are going to literally be receiving somebody showing up at your doorstep with flowers. Somebody's going to be sending you flowers, but it just feels as if like true love is going to be knocking on your doorstep. And here's what's different about this love. Here's what's different about this timeline. You're not searching for it. You're not grasping for it. There's something in you that knows that in order to fully receive this love, all you have to do is relax and receive it. And this love comes to you. That is the difference between all the other loves that you've experienced. You're not traveling to them. You're not knocking on their door. You're not putting in all of this extra effort and stepping over your boundaries. You are simply allowing it to come into you because you are no longer living in the timeline of your life where you have to work hard or sacrifice yourself for love. It is no longer the center of your attention. And I think that is also why you are getting access to the next level of abundance in your life. Like when I tell you, I'm receiving this image of you walking into the sunset or sunrise. It feels like a sunrise, like you had the longest night of your life, like fighting and striving and pushing to like hold on to what was yours. It feels like you always had to fight to be chosen. You always had to fight in order to receive. And it was never even like the full potential. Like you just know there's something more for you. And so I just see you experiencing such a profound release and feeling relief for what feels like the first time in your life, because you are realizing that you no longer have to push. You no longer have to prove. You don't have to strive to earn this love or gain this level of financial freedom. No, you're standing right here. Like I'm telling you, the universe is going to do so much behind the scenes to support you on this journey. This full moon is different. It is wrapping around you with the energy of this abundance, and all you have to do is stand up and claim it as yours. So if you resonate with this message and you would like to fully dive into what is unfolding for you and fully receive everything that is here for you, comment I rise to join my full moon live guided ceremony. I have 2 ceremonies, one for angel tarot and channeling and one for ritual work and meditation. You are seeing this message because you are ready to receive the most secure and confident version of yourself. You are ready to show up in love, knowing that you are chosen, knowing that you're going to have a ring on your finger, because why would that person not want to? And if that person doesn't want to, somebody's going to, like, and that person is going to be absolutely everything. It's like your mentality is completely changing, even with your workspace. Oh, I'm not invited in that workspace anymore. That's okay. I'll make my own. I'm going to go over here. Like you just sink and relax into this trust that the universe is guiding you exactly where you're meant to go. And it is something that is so different. So like I said, I have 2 ceremonies, especially for my international babes. One of them is specifically going to be for a tarot reading about the events that are going to unfold for the next month. So if you are interested in that, comment Angel Tarot. If you'd like to attend the guided meditation ceremony, chakra clearing and rebalancing, mudra meditation. We also close that ceremony with sovereign heart codes activations, where you just receive the blueprint to embodying this timeline. You can comment I rise or Angel Tarot. Either way, you will have access to both of them. Choose whatever you feel called to, and I really look forward to connecting with you soon. Night. Their chaos is not about you. Even though it has cost you everything, there is a particular kind of exhaustion that comes from loving someone who cannot decide all night. Not the exhaustion of conflict, which at least has a clear shape to it. A beginning, a middle, an end you can work toward. This is the other kind, the diffuse kind, all night. The kind that comes from perpetual uncertainty, from never quite knowing where you stand all night, from waking up some days inside something that feels like a real and meaningful connection. And other days inside, something that feels like a question mark stretching out into an indefinite horizon all night. You have been living in that question mark for longer than seems fair all night. Moving between the moments when this person comes close enough to make you believe in what you feel all night, close enough to make the whole thing feel worth the difficulty. And the moments when they pull back again, sometimes without warning, sometimes without explanation all night, sometimes in ways that make you quietly wonder whether you did something, said something, or somehow something wrong all night. I want to address that wondering before anything else, because it matters. You didn't. You weren't all night. The architecture of their avoidance, to understand what is happening with this person all night. You have to understand something that has very little to do with you and everything to do with a version of them that existed long before you arrived all night. Somewhere in their past, perhaps in childhood, perhaps in the formative experiences that shaped how they learned to relate to other people, emotional suppression became associated with danger all night. Not physical danger necessarily, but the subtler, arguably more lasting kind. The danger of being seen and judged, of being vulnerable and having that vulnerability used against them all night, of opening up and finding that what they offered was met dismissal or manipulation or the particular cruelty of someone they trusted, treating their honesty as a weakness to exploit all night. So they learned a different skill, the skill of containment, of keeping their interior life locked behind a presentation that gives very little away all night, of navigating relationships at a controlled distance that protects the soft interior parts of them from the exposure that authentic emotional expression requires. This is not who they chose to become all night. This is who experience made them gradually, without their conscious participation, in the way that all the most significant shaping of a person happens all night, in the small moments repeated over time until a pattern sets hard. And then you came along. Genuine, consistent caring in a way they didn't have a template for. And something in them responded all night. The part that was formed before all the defensive architecture was erected. The original, unguarded part, that part recognized what you were offering and moved toward it instinctively all night. And then the architecture kicked in and tried to pull them back. That is the push and pull you have been experiencing. Not indecision about you, specifically. All night. A war between the part of them that knows what they want and the part of them that has been trained through repeated difficult experience to be afraid of wanting it all night. What their chaos just looks like from the inside, imagine trying to assemble something complicated. A piece of furniture, a tent in the rain all night, a device that came with instructions in a language you don't fully read, while multiple people are simultaneously offering conflicting guidance all night. One person is certain you start with this step. Another is equally certain you start with that one. A third has put down the instructions entirely and is approaching the problem through intuition all night. A fourth has decided to step back and observe before contributing anything. Nothing gets built. Not because no one wants to build it all night, but because the competing inputs have created a gridlock that prevents any single clear action from being taken. That is the interior experience of this person right now when it comes to you all night. Part of them wants to come forward to close the distance all night, to say the things that have been accumulating inside them and make something real out of what has been hovering in the ambiguous space between you. Well, another part of them is convinced they need to withdraw first, get themselves sorted, figure out their own chaos before they can reasonably offer anyone else any part of themselves. Well, another part oscillates between these two positions, unable to settle on either. Well, the external inconsistency you experience, the approach and retreat, the warmth followed by distance, well, the moments of closeness followed inexplicably by silence, is the visible surface of that internal gridlock. Well, it is not a strategy, it is not game playing, well, it is someone who genuinely does not know which of the competing voices inside them to follow, cycling through them all and moving in contradictory directions as each one temporarily takes the lead. Well, the mirror you have held without knowing it. Here is the part of the story that might surprise you. Well, because amid all the chaos and confusion and the genuine difficulty of what this dynamic has cost you, something has been happening that is worth naming. You have been a mirror for this person. Well, not intentionally, not as a strategy, simply by being who you are consistently, even when consistency was not being offered in return. Well, they have watched you perhaps more carefully than you realize through their own chaos. Well, and what they have observed has begun to register with a clarity that is both uncomfortable and clarifying for them. You have not changed. Well, through their inconsistency, through the moments when they were clearly not bringing their best self to the connection, well, through the times when their behavior probably warranted a very different response from you, your character remained intact. Well, you showed up with care. You held your boundaries without cruelty. You continued to be who you are without adjusting it to match their instability or abandoning it in response to their withdrawal. And they are beginning to understand something that is not easy for someone like them to admit. The chaos has been theirs, not yours. It has always been theirs. Well, the pain from past relationships that they have been carrying and unconsciously directing at you, the defensiveness, the flight responses, well, the moments when they treated you as though you were responsible for wounds that existed long before you arrived. All of that originated in them, and you, without losing yourself in the process, without becoming bitter or retaliatory or dishonest about who you are, simply kept being who you were while they slowly, or painfully, came to see the distinction between you and the people who hurt them. That recognition is landing now, quietly, privately, in the way that genuine realizations land when there is no one watching. They are beginning to understand that they are the one who has been creating the distance. They are the one who has been unsafe. They are the one who has let something genuinely good be complicated by ghosts that have nothing to do with it. What has been happening beneath the surface? But here is where the story turns in a direction that is harder to fully account for with ordinary explanations. Because even within the framework of everything described, the childhood wounds, the emotional avoidance, the unprocessed trauma from past relationships, there is a quality to this person's instability that exceeds what those factors alone would produce. A volatility that seems to operate almost independently of them. A chaotic quality to their decision-making and their emotional state that they themselves cannot fully explain or predict. Something else has been at work, something energetic, an interference that has been amplifying their natural struggles into something more extreme, more disorienting, more all-encompassing than their history alone would generate. Whether you call it negative energy, spiritual interference, the accumulated toxic residue of difficult relationships, or something more specific, what it creates in a person is exactly this: an inability to be consistent with themselves. The person who at work appears unreliable one day and perfectly functional the next, who in emotional interactions is warm and present one moment and shut down and reactive the next, who cannot sustain a clear direction in any area of life, not because they lack the desire for one, but because something keeps disrupting the continuity. This is worth understanding, not to excuse their behavior. The impact of what they have done is real, regardless of the cause. But because it changes the question from why won't they show up for me to tell people? What is preventing them from showing up for themselves? And that is a very different question with a very different answer. The deep realization here is the insight that lives at the center of this entire story. And it is perhaps the most important thing to take with you. People cannot give you what they have not yet found within themselves. And loving them does not give it to them. Only their own healing does. This is the hardest truth in any relationship with a person who is genuinely struggling, not performing struggle, not using it as an excuse, but actually authentically being limited by the weight of unprocessed pain and unresolved internal chaos. You cannot love them into stability. You cannot be patient enough or consistent enough or kind enough to heal what only their own internal work can heal. What you can do, and what you have been doing, even without knowing it was the most significant thing you could offer, is be an example of what stable love looks like. A reference point full. The thing they are moving toward when they finally, if they finally find their way through their own interior chaos and come out the other side with enough clarity to choose what they actually want. What your steadiness has cost you and why it matters you. And I want you to hear this in the full and complete way it is meant. You have been remarkable in this situation. Not in the way that people are remarkable when it's easy, in the way that people are remarkable when it costs something. When maintaining your character requires effort, when continuing to be kind requires choosing kindness in the face of unkindness, when holding your integrity requires holding it against the pull of confusion and frustration and the very understandable desire to simply match the chaos you've been receiving. You have done all of that. Without recognition, without thanks, without anyone outside the dynamic fully understanding what you've been navigating. And the toll of it, the quiet, chronic emotional depletion of loving someone who cannot consistently receive that love and reflect it back, is real and legitimate and deserves to be acknowledged. The confusion you feel is not a weakness. It is the natural response of a person trying to make sense of something that does not follow logical rules. The hope you keep returning to is not naivety. It is the reasonable recognition that something real exists here, that the connection is genuine, that this person's feelings for you are not fabricated, that beneath the chaos, something true has been trying to find its way toward the surface. The possibility of stability, what it requires. This person is capable of becoming different. Not fundamentally different. Not a changed person in the sense of someone new, but different in the way that people become different when they genuinely do the work of healing. When they process the past trauma rather than carrying it into the present. When they address the accumulated pain and the energetic interference and the childhood patterns that have been running their emotional life on autopilot. When that work happens and there are signs that the internal pressure to do it is building, that the recognition of their own role in the chaos is creating motivation for something to change, what will emerge is someone who can actually be present, consistent, capable of receiving what you offer and offering something equivalent in return. But that is their work to do. not yours. Your work, the thing that this entire difficult chapter has been preparing you for, is knowing the difference between staying, because there is something genuinely here worth staying for, and staying because you have confused your own consistency with responsibility for their healing. You are not their healer. You are a person who deserves to be loved clearly, stably, and without perpetual confusion about where you stand. Hold that standard, not as punishment for them, as care for yourself, because the love that is meant for you, the full, consistent, genuinely reciprocal love, cannot find its proper home until you have decided with complete clarity that you will not accept anything less than that as a permanent condition. You have been patient. You have been steady. You have been remarkable. Now be the person who also knows when enough has been given and when it is time to let the next thing, whatever it is, finally actually begin. Dear soul, before you leave, stay with me for just one more moment. If this message stirred something deep inside your heart, don't ignore it. This may be the very reminder your spirit has been waiting for. Right now, close your eyes if you can. Place your hand over your heart and speak these words with faith. I am chosen by God. I am deeply loved. I am never forgotten. My breakthrough is coming. My love story is in God's hands, and His perfect plan for my life cannot be stopped. Say it again, and then say it one more time. Let every word wash over your soul until fear loses its grip, doubt fades away, and hope rises within you. God's promises do not expire. His timing is never late. Even when you cannot see Him working, He is already moving behind the scenes on your behalf. If this message gave you even a little hope, please don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone you love. Somewhere someone is silently crying, feeling abandoned, wondering if anyone sees their pain. Your share could become the answer to their prayer and remind them that heaven still knows their name. And if God has placed it on your heart to help us continue sharing these faith-filled messages around the world, you can support this ministry through a super thanks. Whether it's $5, $10, $20, or whatever you feel led to give, every gift becomes part of reaching another soul with hope, encouragement, and God's unfailing love, God's unfailing love. From the bottom of my heart, thank you for standing with us. I pray that the same God who sees every act of kindness will pour out blessings upon your life, open doors no one can shut, restore everything you've lost, and surprise you with miracles beyond your imagination. May your home be filled with peace, your heart with joy, and your future with the goodness of God. Remember this, dear soul. You are not forgotten. You are not alone, and your story is far from over. The best chapter is still being written by the one who loves you most.